Here's a question for you. What is your brand? Gucci? Dolce & Gabbana? Or do I mean something else? Let's check it out. Hope you're well. So, what do I mean by brand? What is your brand? And what do I mean by that in the sort of context of everything else? So, when I say about brand, I'm not talking about designer fashion or anything like that. As nice as that is. What I'm talking about is what's the first thing I suppose people think of when they think of you?
Say what?
Now, this is a very, very, very important if you've got your own business. Also kind of important just in everyday life. Often it's not considered in everyday life, but the actual concept is. So let me explain. If you think of brands that, you know, like I said, like Gucci, Dolce & Gabbana, Coca-Cola, McDonald's, Mercedes, they're all brands, they're all well-known, famous brands. And if you think of one of those names, you're naturally going to get an opinion or a thought of what they stand for. So if you think of, say, Gucci, Dolce & Gabbana, Mercedes, you think sort of quality, high-end, etc. If you think of McDonald's, you know, it's food-ish. I'm still convinced there's more nutritional value in the packaging. But, you know, it's a burger, it's fast food, you know what it is. Now, often when you start your own business, or particularly an online business, it's natural, particularly in the world of network marketing, to kind of push that company or the name of that business rather than you. It's a bit bizarre. If you say to someone, you know, well, why don't you brand yourself? It doesn't really sort of make any sense because, well, who am I? I'm just one person and I'm a distributor from this company, so I'm going to push this company because everyone knows that and it's a big company and therefore it's got more credibility. The problem is with any business, people buy from people, they don't buy from companies. So it's a very sort of relationship type interaction, particularly with things like network marketing where people go on, it's word of mouth marketing essentially. So the actual fact that you're branding or you're pushing the company is actually going to work against you ultimately. Whilst you may think it's going to be a better thing, it's going to hugely work against you. Now, in non-business circles, you think, well, this is not relevant, but it kind of is, because if you think about it, if you think of somebody you know, or even think of a famous person, if you just think of, say, George Clooney, immediately you've got a sort of an idea of kind of what type of person or what kind of actor he is. You know, there's the looks obviously and his talent and that sort of thing, but you've kind of got an idea what he sort of represents. Where if you say someone like, I was trying to think someone random, like without being overly offensive, say Lindsay Lohan, also an actress, also very famous, but you've probably got a different opinion of her than, say, George Clooney. And that could be down to her behaviour and things she's done and sort of notoriety and that sort of thing. And that comes, so basically her brand is very different to George Clooney or Cameron Diaz, because even though technically they're Hollywood actors, actresses, they've got sort of different brands. And so that's the thing about sort of you are your own brand. And your brand isn't a logo or a catchphrase or anything like that, as you'd expect, say, with McDonald's with the sort of golden arches, or Coca-Cola, Mercedes, all the various big name brands. Yes, they have logos and they may have a kind of catchphrase, but that's not the brand. The brand is, and the brand comes from behaviour and what the company or what the person represents. So, as I said, like if you can consider Lindsay Lohan versus Cameron Diaz, very different brands, because even though they're both Hollywood actresses, okay, one's maybe more successful than the other, but taking that aside, technically, if you think Hollywood actresses, they're the same brand, but they're not. And if you think about it, they are very, very different brands. And so when it comes to sort of you as a person, as an individual, how you come across and how you carry yourself in life, in your interactions with other people, is basically what your brand represents in you. And so this is, you know, the fact that some people have perhaps a better reputation than others and things like that, that's the brand. And it's not generally spoken about in that term like a brand, but if you think of it like that, it then may help you to consider certain behaviours may not be sort of on brand, if that makes sense. And you know, where you think, oh, I might do that, you know, is it on, you know, is it in line with my brand? And sometimes it's not, and therefore kind of don't do them, rather than thinking, oh, I'll be fine, I could get away with that. But if Mercedes went, I could get away with that, it would have hugely detrimental effects to their brand and their reputation. But often as people, we don't think that. We just think, oh, that's fine, isn't it? But actually, in the bigger picture, you know, you have, your brand is you and your reputation and how you're considered, and this is massively amplified by the world of social media and being online. Because when you think about it, everything you put online is kind of there forever. And so it's, you know, what we do online, it's so easy just to do stuff and write things, whatever it is, and it's out there, and literally it's out there, it's international. The world, everyone in the world could see that. And so it may or may not actually directly affect you in the future or in the present. It may not have any effect, but it might. So where I'm going with this is always be aware of your brand, how you carry yourself and how you are, particularly online, because there could be a time where you might go for a job interview and one simple Google search, suddenly images or something you've put online back whenever will just come up, and it could work hugely against you. You know, just bear that in mind. And again, if you're doing any sort of business online, same sort of thing. It's so easy to do things that are off-brand and things that were actually going to fundamentally affect your business. It's easy to do unless you think about it and go, okay, perhaps not, I won't do that. The classic example I always give is if you're in a network marketing company doing health and wellness, and you know, you're promoting this, you know, good living, healthy eating, exercise, all this positive stuff, and you know, that, and then on your personal Facebook or Instagram page, you've got you eating some dirty old takeaway and drunk, falling over every week. Not very congruent, those two. And if anyone just, again, Google sees it and be like, hang on a minute, this guy or girl is the sort of the health guru, and yet they're doing that. I'm not going to trust them. And there may not be a conscious thought, it'll be a subconscious thought, but basically that's your reputation gone. And without you even knowing, without you knowing anything, they kind of just saw your name, Googled it, and people do that. People look up people to see, you know, if they're credible, if they're consistent, you know, are they a scam artist or not. You know, the Google is there, Facebook, it's all out there, laid in front of everyone, and you know, people can just easily do a search. So if you are doing any kind of business online, then always remember to be consistent. And this comes back to everything I've sort of said about being yourself and being true to yourself and being honest and being ethical. Because if you live that way, and if you then hold yourself accountable for everything you do, and basically are very honest and upfront, and there's no kind of shadiness and there's no facade, you are you. You are just being true and honest and just living as you, whether it's to your friends or to the wider world, then there's no issue. It's all completely congruent, and when you know someone meets you in real life compared to your online persona, and you're exactly the same person. And from personal experience, this makes life very, very, very easy, because there's no pretense. You just be you, as I'm me, and
literally I'm just as annoying in real life.
There's no pretense, and it makes one, it's very easy for you to kind of live your life because you just carry on. You know, good points, bad points, it's all there. That's why I'm being bluntly honest always. But it also then carries across from a reputation point of view, because then people can trust you because they know you are truthful. You don't basically anything, and you just, it's there. So when you do say something, if it's recommended a product or something like that, it's all Gucci, because yeah, they know they can trust you, because you've built up that trust by being sometimes, you know, too honest, but honest. That's the thing, and that's an important thing. So whether or not you've got business online, or whether you're not in a business, but just bear in mind the stuff you put online, almost like the police arrest, you know, anything you can and will be used against you. Because if it's there and someone, and even if it's out of context, someone sees it, and that's it. Bear in mind what your brand is and what your behaviour is in relation to your brand you. And they said this is doubly important if you've got a business, because then the business is you're the person behind the business, and so you are representative of that business, therefore the brand is you, not the company, it's you. And by portraying that and being honest and pushing that towards the world as opposed to this kind of facade, you're going to get people to know, like and trust you, and therefore they'll be with you forever from a customer point of view. Hopefully you got some value from this episode tonight, this evening, wherever you are. If you did, please smash that like button till it's nice and blue. Subscribe if you haven't already, I'd really appreciate that, and hit the bell notification so you know when I release a new video. And for now, I will see you guys tomorrow. Have a good one. Bye bye.